Hey, what are you thinking about on a world title fight? The cage closes. Are you just zoned in on like different moves and techniques, or are you just kind of just waiting for the bell to go? Like, what's going through your head before they go ding, ding, ding? And do the nerves stop at the first punch, or do they kind of just what's that? I mean, I just can't imagine being in the cage.
If you want, I'm gonna give you a little tour of how I live through the week leading up before a fight.
Awesome.
Because it start for me. It start much earlier than that. It start when I signed the contract, even before I signed the contract. Because I'm thinking, I'm watching one fight and I'm like, maybe I'm gonna fight this guy or this guy. Normally, when you're a champion, you know who you're gonna fight next. You know the possibilities. You know that you're gonna fight the winner of that fight. So you're gonna pay attention to the fight that's gonna declare the number one contender. So your butterfly is already started. And as you watch the fight, you start making scenario. If this guy is, I'm gonna do this. If this guy, I'm gonna do this. So you see your brain already start. For me, because I'm obsessive compulsive. That's how it works. Then when you know who you're fighting, now you know who you're going up against. You right away start making out scenarios in your head. As much as you think about sex in your life, in your head, I was thinking about sex as well, but I was thinking about fighting, like just as much. And the closer you get to the fight, the more you think about it, and it become like a mental disease, an obsession, because you sometimes when you have some visions, and sometimes you see yourself winning, and sometimes you don't. You see yourself in trouble. But the thing is, when you see yourself in trouble, for me, one of the trick I have to stay positive and all that and control my stress level is when I see myself losing, I don't let go on that negative thought. I force myself to think of how I'm going to take back the upper hand of that situation and turn it to my advantage. And then I can let go my thought and do something else in my life. And these thoughts before a fight, and I'm talking about like 2 months, sometimes 2 months, even a month, 2 months, all the way to the fight will hunt you. It hunt me like crazy every second, every minute of my existence. When I'm driving my car, when I eating, before I go to bed, and it's get worse as the fight goes on. It get worse, and it weighs very heavy on my shoulder, and it's crazy. It drives me nuts, especially the week of the fight, because you get into press conference, and when you promote a fight, you get to see your opponent, and the print that he left in your brain, and the scar that he left because he's talking to you, stuff that he's saying, get really to you on an emotional level. So you start making imagery, not only about the fight, but what you're going to say to him. And if you say that, how you're going to answer back and everything. So everything, it's like a fight. And it gets worse. And the week of the fight, you have to lose weight. And when you lose weight, it's not a pleasant experience. And when I'm cutting weight, it's very hard. Sometimes you want to give up, you want to get out of the sauna. But I'm thinking that my opponent is right next to me, and I'm not allowed to show any weakness. So until I've made weight, I don't show any weakness. Then I make weight. I go to the weigh-in, and I'm gonna tell you the truth. The night before the fight, I never sleep well. Never. I never sleep well because there's too much scenario in my mind that is it's hunting my mind. I cannot sleep. I'm turning in my bed. But if you do this, I'm going to do that. And then I'm turning. And then sometimes I see myself winning. Sometimes I don't. And I have to force myself to finish on top. It's an obsession. It drives me nuts. So I sleep very, very little the few nights before the fight because I'm going nuts. So the day of the fight, when I wake up, I always tell myself the same thing. I always feel like shit. And I'm always like, man, I don't feel good today. I feel like shit. Like, man, I don't know. Probably because I don't sleep well the night before. And I thought at one point when I was young that this would go away. And with the experience, I will be able to feel better with that. But it's getting worse every time because every fight is bigger than the last one. And with time, you realize that it's normal. And that stress, that fear, you cannot let it consume you, because fear is like fire. It can help you cook your food, but it can also burn you. And I know that fear and stress will help me to increase my reaction time, my decision making time. So it's my friend, and I embrace it. I want to be afraid, because I know if I'm not afraid, that's me that does not care about what's gonna happen, and I might not be fighting at the best of my abilities. So I'm going crazy the whole time. I'm going nuts. But as a team, it cannot be any weak link, So I have to showcase confidence in front of my trainer. So when they ask me, hey, are you okay? I'm like, yes, man, I'm ready to go. I can't wait, man. It's going to be fun. Can't wait. Even though deep down inside, I'm lying, because I'm scared as hell.
Fuck.
And I'm very uncomfortable. I'm terrified. Because I'm thinking, I'm like, man, maybe I'm going to be humiliated or something. I'm going to get knocked out, cold. But this fear makes me be better and perform at my best. So all that day, that day that I'm fighting is the longest day of my life. It's crazy, because so much stress going on, until I go to the locker room. And when you go to the locker room, for example, in my last fight against Michael Bisping, it was crazy, because it was like my locker room was cursed. All my training partner was getting knocked out. All the guys from my team were getting knocked out. They were all coming back in the locker room, all messed up, all like with an ice bag on the head, like knocked out. Like, it was bad. So I was like freaking out. I started thinking to myself, I was like, man, maybe it's a bad day. Maybe we're cursed, or even though I'm not superstitious, I'm like, man, maybe in my gym, what we do is not right. Maybe we don't do the right thing, and we you know what I mean? We're all has been, maybe things we're not as good as we think. Maybe we need to change our methods. And then the fight get close. Then you watch the fight on TV, and you never know. You try to predict at what time you're gonna go on. You're the last fight, so you see some guys getting knocked out, and you're like, okay, now I need to warm up, because it's coming out soon. And as you warm up, it changed something in your mind, because when you start hitting the pads, it makes your confidence grow. And the scare guy that I was before now start to disappear, because I'm starting to get confidence, because it remember the mechanic of my movement, the perfection of my punches and my technique and everything, and make me remember how good I am. And, oh yeah, I can do that well, like now I remember how good I am, how much I'm a beast in the gym, how much the sacrifice I've done to be here, how much I took care of myself for that preparation, how much hardcore sparring I had. I'm sure he didn't have the hardcore sparring that I had to go through. I'm sure he didn't make the sacrifice that I did. I'm sure he didn't fight those beasts that I had to fight during my training camp. I had to go through hell to my training camp. I'm sure he didn't go through the same hell that I did. Start make you remember this thing. Then you became a different person. And then times fly, and now there's someone in the UFC that come knock at your door and say, hey, St-Pierre, you're up next. So when that moment come, I have a little ritual that I do. I go in the bathroom. I look at myself in the mirror. I'm alone. And only my coach knows what I'm doing. And I'm looking myself in the mirror, and I try to make my confidence go. And I'm talking to myself. I'm not a cocky person in public, but I'm trying to be in private. When I'm talking to myself, I'm telling myself, like, I'm stronger than him. I'm better than him. I'm more well prepared. I'm way more athletic than he is. I went through hell. I'm a much, much better fighter. I'm going to win this fight. I'm going to show these young kids that lose their fight tonight how things should be done. And I'm going to show them that I'm the fucking king in this gym. I'm going to give the example. And then I'm kicking out the door, and I'm a different person than when I came. So the Georges St-Pierre that you see now today is not the same than the one that is going to fight and is about to step in the octagon. And when I kick the door and I'm about to do my walk, now it's on cruise control. I don't have time to think, because if I think, I miss the opportunity. I miss, and I can get clipped. So it's all about cruise control. It's like when you play golf, you hit the ball is in the air. There's nothing you can do to change the result of the fight, to change the outcome, because all my work is done. Now the only thing I can do is to do it, to let myself go with the cruise control, to trust my instinct. That's how it goes.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Yeah, dude.
This guy's the man, dude.
I love it.
So is it kind of you're
So
kind of
people are like, oh, how come you don't like to fight? Yeah, I don't like to fight because the person I am now is different than the person that is getting ready to step into the octagon. We're both different human beings.
so you're operating a lot off of instinct in the in the fight. So are you ever like 3 seconds later you're like, oh wow, I just blocked a really cool like you don't even realize what's happening as it's happening. You're on a delay, like your brain is on a delay almost.
Now, this is after when you watch the tape. Because what happened is in training, you do so many repetition and repetition and repetition. You drill certain techniques 1,000 times. So it becomes like an automatic in your brain. It's an action reaction. You know, when you have a certain action, you give the reaction in order to give you the upper hand in the fight. And you drill that so many times that it becomes automatic. So when you fight, you're on cruise control. Everything you do, it's a reflection of what you've been working on through the past 10 years of your life. And I say 10 years, maybe the past 30 years, because I start when I was a kid, you know? So there's no accident, I believe. Everything happened because of a reason, because your reaction, everything is a cause and effect, you know? And that's how it goes.
Wow.
Yeah, it's interesting when they interview. I saw Gaethje walking back to his locker room after the Ferguson fight, and they were like, "Man, it's crazy! Like you threw some leg kicks in there." He's like, "I fucking threw some leg kicks in there, like holy shit!" Like he didn't even remember. I mean, it's
yeah,
an out of body experience.
You're on cruise control. For me, I remember in one of my fights, I came back. It's a 5-round fight. When you fight for a championship, it's 5 rounds. I was fighting Johnny Hendricks. After my 3rd round, I got rocked in my 3rd round. After the 2nd round, I got rocked in the 2nd round. So I go back in the stool, and my cornermen are like, "Hey, George, this is the final round. It's 2-2. This is the 5th round. Is the one that gonna win this round, gonna win the fight. So this is a decisive round. You have to give everything you got. You know, if you want to stay champion, you have to give it all." And I look at the guy, I'm like, "Guys, you're making a mistake. It's the 3rd round." And they're like, "No, George, it's the 5th round." And I look at the screen, I'm like, "Shit. Yeah, it's the 5th round. It's because I got rocked. I lost time."
Wow.
oh my god.
So
dude.
I was on cruise control that whole time. So that's why I mean, it's a normal thing. We're on survival mode. You can say I play baseball, I play soccer, play basketball, but you don't play fighting. And this is something that we all have inside of ourselves. I can put anybody in a situation that he's going to have to fight, either to protect himself or to protect someone that he loves. I can put everybody. I don't care, the nicest person. I can put it in a situation like my mother, who's the nicest person I know. I can put her in a situation that she would be forced to fight in order to protect her kids. She will. She cannot do it well, of course. She's not a fighter, but she will. So fighting, we can all relate to it because it's something that we all have to do at least once in our life. You know, like it's something that we can relate. It's in our most basic instinct. That's why it's not like playing basketball. It's fighting. It's different. And the proof of that, if you don't believe me, look at what happened if you go watch a basketball game or a baseball game and a fight breaks out in the crowd. You will stop watching the game and look at the fight because the fight is threatening. It's threatening you. It has something different, a different appeals to what is going on as a game. Maybe you don't like that sort of entertainment, you know, and it's not an entertainment that is made to everybody, but everybody can relate to fighting.
It's called Steve-O's Hot Sauce for Your Butthole. And if you go on Amazon and type in Steve-O's Hot Sauce for Your Butthole and order yourself a bottle, you'd be really helping me. Because right now we're ranked number 30 on all of Amazon. And if you buy a bottle, we might go up the ladder. And that would mean a lot. So please get on Amazon and buy Steve-O's Hot Sauce for Your Butthole. Yeah.
Yeah, dude.